I remember having a just solo trip and looking in the mirror, walking up to my bathroom and just going, just stop judging.
What is something that you were asleep to, so to speak, in the past that was a very pivotal and profound awakening for you? Let's
Mm.
dive into something like that.
Two, just straight away, meditation, psychedelics. Yeah.
Mm, okay.
So
Let's
it's it,
unpack that.
I mean, if you're listening to this and you haven't yeah, let's go further back and remove the topic and think about this from a good psychology standpoint, third person point of view, which meditation helps you with. So is psychedelics. And they both help each other. It's interesting. It's really interesting to think about. One, I would say we have to always be on guard against any sort of judgment against something that we don't know much about and that we haven't experienced. So that was me early in my 20s, and I was anti a lot of things, because I really just was so cognizant of just wanting to be able to continue to have all the freedom I could have, really. So, that was really the driver, which you could say is fear, is a lack of knowledge, all these different things. And that's, whenever we have judgment in general, that's usually where it comes from, right? I think it's always where it comes from, actually, nearly always. That's where it comes from. So when that voice starts speaking, just go, I see you, I hear you, and let's respond. Let's not react. So meditation helps with that. Meditation helps you get in the space where you can have successful experiences more often than not. They're all successful, I suppose, in the psychedelic realm, but more pleasurable, because if you're clinging to the edge of the wormhole, you're not going to enjoy it. It's going to be really hard. It's going to be so much harder.
Mm.
So that acceptance of things, both painful and so beautiful they're scary, is just, it's something that you have to get to one way or another. Those are the ways I found to really, you know break through, and um to get into a meditative state more easily, and to successfully prepare for and come out of, whether it's MDMA, ayahuasca, ibogaine, any big experience. You need all the nutrients that we'll talk about today, and it's absolutely fundamental. It's elemental, actually. Um,
Mm.
so actually absorbing these nutrients has been and learning how to share that with people through product, through education, through a lot of R&D, through years of study before all of that, really is kind of the foundational piece. That's been just a really fun learning experience throughout my life. So,
Yeah, so we'll get to the elemental part of this conversation. I do want to talk about something that I just want to unpack a little bit, kind of picking apart what you said there. I want to talk a little bit about when you said something along the lines of being cautious of making judgments towards things that you're not, fully
informed.
educated on or
Yeah.
informed on. Can you give some specific, because I think that's a really important thing
Sure.
that, Bob Dylan said, don't criticize what you don't understand. And that it's just
Sure.
like
Same
it,
thought.
but also like don't come to formulate opinions that are absolute, at least when you don't understand something. What are some examples of like where you see people actually become disserviced by this practice?
It could be as simple as thinking like, oh, weed is bad, and you're going to be, just because the people you've met early in your life are delinquents. It's like, well, they could have been delinquents, just from eating too many hamburgers. It's like you can't outlaw a bunch of things just because a very small percentage of the population is going to be delinquent regardless. They're literally looking for a way to pacify and looking for a way to procrastinate. And there's been some portion of some day where all of us, even the most successful, driven people in the world, have procrastinated, which is some subset form of that. And so again, back to judgment. Are you judging the people that are, it's like, just, I remember having a trip once, and just solo trip, and looking in the mirror, walking up to my bathroom on the third floor and looking in my mirror and just going, just stop judging. Just as few judgments as possible for the rest of your life. As few that are not mission critical to your life. And when you observe, try to just switch to observing and compassionate observing, at that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I was going to ask what takes the place of judgment. So you say observation. So observing with probably a level of just this like beautiful curiosity of like, it's still an exploration of truth, right? And we're still
Yeah.
trying to ultimately get to truth. And it's often, I mean, our judgments are so tied to, I think, just our conditioning, and there's confirmation bias, right? We're really just trying to validate probably our internal subconscious beliefs when we make judgments, or it comes from like a wounded place. But really, I find often our judgments are really just an attempt to make us feel more safe in the moment. It's like, I'm going to believe this about this because it makes me feel safer.
It's also a mental shortcut. So our brains are always trying to save energy, right? And for that reason, you have a lot of, not only, if you really observe your thoughts all day, you see that you have so many repetitive thoughts. If you go and sit, like Vipassana for 10 days, I'll be going to do a week this week with Joe Dispenza. And just, God, the the number of thoughts you have that are repetitive, and then if they're judgment filled thoughts, like 10% of them, even of the 80,000 that are happening a day, you're not actually thinking. You're just remembering some stupid thought. You're looking at the doorknob, you're having the same thought every time you look at the doorknob, which is, oh, I need to get the doorknob fixed. It's, so and so broke the door, it's this, whatever, so not only judging but blaming. And then the last thing to really say on it, from my point of view at least, is just being so clear that what you think, what you're so sure of, could be wrong. So staying flexible always, which again is not a mental shortcut at all, but it's what all great thinkers have in common.
Yeah.
Never wedded to a position fully. And that's how, through science, I've been able to make these like quantum leaps in understanding and put out great products. And that's how I've been able to just free myself up and just be a more free person. And I teach dance now. I mean, all sorts of things, like from salsa to just static dance. I mean, that's a inaction example of just, being vulnerable, being willing to learn, that I would say, just pay attention to where you're genuinely happiest, especially when you're genuinely happiest and it's not requiring anyone else to be there.